The Geeking Poetic podcast starts now.
Intro. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Geeking Poetic channel. This is the Geeking Squadcast. I am, of course, your host, Larry Roberts, and this funky dancing rebel, this loner I have over here, accompanying me on this journey is none other than my co-host and pal. It is
beep boop 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 boop.
Wow. Was that, were you supposed to be R2-D2 or Chopper?
Chopper.
Oh, okay.
But I guess I'm Megan.
Yeah, this is Megan.
I'll be Megan then.
Yeah.
I was trying to be my own rebel.
Oh, that kind of rebel. Okay, I didn't quite get that at first. All right. So, anyway, we are back with our semi not so regular podcast that we call we try
we'll get
folks.
to it when we get to it.
Yeah, we try to get these out as often as we can, but we're terrible at that. We're busy folks over here, you know. But yeah, this is the Squadcast, and the reason it is called the Squadcast is because it is primarily based off of our Facebook group that we started many moons ago, known as the Geeking Squad group. And in that group, it's free and open for anybody to join as long as you're not a total turd. And we just invite all the geeks and nerds like us to come in there and talk about, I don't know, fun stuff.
Yeah, geeky fun stuff. No politics, no religion, no fighting. We don't want any of that. It's a getaway from real life.
Yeah, exactly. We talk about movies and TV and comic books and toys and, you know,
fun conspiracies.
Fun conspiracies,
Yes.
and sci-fi, real life not-fi, I guess it would be. Yeah, we cover all that. We are going to cover all of that stuff in this episode here.
Right now.
Yeah, we're going to get into it right freaking now. We're not going to waste any more time. Let's just let's get right into our first segment here. We've broken them into segments to keep everything a little bit more tidy.
Segmented.
Yeah, more segmented, hence the name segment. Yeah. I can't talk. Whatever. It's
gonna be a long night for you.
Yeah, it's going to be a long night, but let's hope not too long. But yeah, this first segment is our catch-all of all the, I don't know what you would call it.
News-ish?
All the entertainment news out there, and it goes by the name of...
What's shaking, bacon?
Yep. It is the old What's Shakin' Bacon segment. Meg still laughs at
It never gets old.
the theme song, so it's...
Now I'm bacon.
Yeah. Now you're bacon?
I'm going to shake him.
You're going to shake your bacon?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I thought you were saying you were cold. I don't think you're quite cooked enough to be bacon.
No, I am cold.
Yeah. Nothing worse than cold bacon, man.
Yeah, that is bad.
Yeah. Ugh. Yeah. But anyway, all right. So we are going to get unpleasantries out of the way first, like we usually do, because we are going to start this segment off talking about recent celebrities who have passed. And there's just one I think that we're going to focus on this time.
Most recently, yeah.
Yeah, because it literally just happened in the last couple of days. And that was the passing of actor Val Kilmer. Such a shame.
Very much.
Yeah. Were you a Val Kilmer fan?
Yeah, he's in a couple really good movies. Willow's my favorite.
Yeah,
Then
Mad Mardigan.
Yep. Then obviously Top Gun.
Yeah.
Can't beat that. So
The Iceman, yeah, in Top Gun. Yeah, he was great in that. I loved him in Real Genius. That's one of my favorite movies. Of course, it's not the best one of them all, but I liked him as Batman. I liked Batman Forever, the third movie. That was the one with Tommy Lee Jones and Jim Carrey as the Riddler and all that. I mean, I thought it was pretty decent, but I thought he did a good job. I think, unfortunately, Val didn't get quite a great shake of it because it wasn't the best Batman movie.
wasn't shaking his bacon, that's why.
Yeah, great shakes, Batman. So, but yeah, he was, and last but not least, one of the roles I think he was two roles that he was most well known for is he played Doc Holliday Tombstone.
Yes, another great one.
Yeah, which I still haven't seen. I've seen bits of it. I've seen parts of it.
Oh, okay.
But I haven't watched the whole movie.
Gotcha.
So one of these
he's
days.
fabulous in that.
Yeah, and from the scenes I've seen, he's great and everybody loves him in that. And he played Jim Morrison in The Doors. I mean, wow. He was a very, very convincing Jim Morrison.
Was he?
Oh,
I didn't see that one.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We should watch that sometime. Even if you're not a Doors fan, it's still a really interesting story. But yeah, it's such a shame. He was only, I think, 65.
Yeah, young.
Hats off to you, Val Kilmer. You gave us lots of great entertainment. And I hope that he gets more recognized in the future. That tends to be the way it goes when people pass.
Yeah.
I think Val Kilmer was one of the greats. Just about everything that man did was really good.
Yeah. He was phenomenal.
Yeah, so
he will be missed.
very much so. All right, well, unpleasantries aside, we are going to delve into some of the other entertainment news. One of the things that I was the most excited about recently, because I shared it in the group, it was the fact that Marvel announced finally that Avengers Doomsday, the new Avengers movie, is in production. They've officially started production, which is great because, man, it's so weird because it feels like Endgame was yesterday. And then at the same time, it also feels like it was a long time ago.
Yeah.
I mean, we went and saw that, you, I, and Vito, our old partner here. We all went and saw it on opening night at the theater, which was great. That was so exciting. And I'm pretty sure we did a video about it and all that.
I believe we did, yes.
You could go back and find it.
One of our first ones.
Yeah, it's going way, way back there. That was like 2019. So I don't think we'd even
We were youngerns.
Yeah, we were youngins. Yeah, we certainly were. A little bit less wrinkles and gray hairs, that I could speak for on me.
Aches and pains.
Yeah, well, I've got plenty of those now. But yeah, anyway, I was very excited to see that they were announcing it, and it was cool because what they did was throughout the day, they really dragged it out. It was like, I forget however many minutes or whatever it was, they would show the back of another actor's chair.
Okay.
And on the back of each chair, it had the name of a different actor that was appearing in it. And we found out who all's going to be in it, although I don't think this is everybody that's going to be in it, because Marvel did hint that even with all the reveals they did the other day about the cast, they said, oh, there's still room for more. So I think
there's more chairs.
Yeah, I think there are more chairs in our future. But the thing that most people were excited about with the announcements was the fact that they officially announced actors like Patrick Stewart, Ian McKellen, Rebecca Romaine. What does that mean? It means the original early 2000s Sony X-Men are going to be in this. And that is something that we've been waiting for years. Don't even get me started about the fact that we did see a Professor X in the MCU in Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, or whatever the fuck that goddamn movie was called, because that movie was so aggravating on so many levels. But you finally gave us, Professor X in the MCU, and then within 5 minutes you killed him. Spoiler alert for anybody that hasn't seen the Multiverse of Madness. I'm sure somehow that movie's going to tie in with what goes on in Avengers Doomsday and stuff, but I would really rather recommend people don't even watch it, because
I did not like it at all.
No, I was so bummed with that, but very excited about this movie. I think that this could potentially be cool. Now, the big elephant in the room is the fact that, they did announce at San Diego Comic-Con last summer the big reveal that Robert Downey Jr. was coming back, but not as Tony Stark, like in Iron Man as we knew him. He was coming back as a villain. He's going to be Dr. Doom. That's pretty big news in and of itself, but I think that what is really intriguing about all of this, the big, like I said, the big question mark in the room is that they had been building up to Kang being the big bad guy. That's why all that stuff we saw in the last Ant-Man movie and in Loki season 2 and so on and so forth, it was all building up to the whole Kang dynasty thing. Well, They have completely scrapped that now due to all the controversies surrounding the actor.
Right.
So now they're sort of having to like start over. Yeah, they're pivot. Yeah, exactly. They're pivoting, and it's still really up in the air about how this is going to tie together. Because we kind of saw from, like I said, Ant-Man and Loki, where they were going with all of that, with the whole time thing and him looping with time, and he just was never ending and all that stuff. And Loki being at the end of time. And when Sylvie, again, spoilers, folks, when Sylvie killed the one Kang and all that, like we had that all established for better or worse. I wasn't totally sold on it when it was happening. You can hear us talk about that on our Loki reviews. But now we're just getting thrown with this Doctor Doom thing. And it's like, wow, I wonder what they're planning on doing with that. We've seen there've been some theories floating around already.
Have there?
Yeah, that there's like people that are, I don't want to say too much because I don't want to spoil anything more. It's one thing spoiling stuff from years old movies, but if people don't want to hear about this, I'm not going to get into the theories. If you're interested, you can go watch any of those New Rock Stars or any of those channels have videos out with their theories about where they think they're going to go with the whole Doctor Doom Doomsday thing. Some of them I agree with, some of them I don't. But in any case, I'm really excited that this movie is imminent. Essentially, if they're working on it now, then we should hopefully, I forget, did they say when this was supposed to be out? Was it supposed to be like 2026, 2027? Yeah, I don't think
no idea.
Yeah, I don't think they've indicated that yet. They probably don't want to because
can't give too much away at once.
Yeah, and they've had a habit of not making a lot of their dates.
Deadlines.
Yeah. And we've got other new movies coming out. In the meantime, we've got Thunderbolts coming out in a couple of months. Yep. After that, and in the summer we've got Fantastic Four, which we did see the Fantastic Four actors' names on the back of their chairs. So we know they're going to be part of it. Yeah, I'm excited to go see these movies. For anybody that's listening, let us know if you would like to see and hear Megan and I review those movies when they come out, because we used to do that. We used to do our geek previews thing where we would go out to the movie theater and we would talk right after we saw it. Literally, we would be
to the car.
We'd be in the car and we would just record it really quickly. And we used to do that all the time. We did that with Endgame and a bunch of the others. Mm-hmm. Would you like us to revisit that again? Leave us a comment and let us know, because if so, we'll definitely do that.
We will make it so.
Yeah, exactly. Like old Picard over here. Make it so. All right. So moving on, we're going to pivot away just briefly from the movies to some real life exciting news. This was something you were very excited about.
Very excited, because I've always been fascinated with Egypt and the pyramids and all that kind of stuff, that history. Yeah,
we've done plenty of
stuff on
content about it in the past.
And we're going to do more, because under the Khafre pyramids, the middle pyramid, they've been doing all this like penetrating SAR, I guess.
Yeah, they use sound waves.
Yeah,
like, it's almost like ultrasound.
Okay. Yeah, that's what it looked like, to see what is underneath the pyramid. And I never even dreamed anything was ever underneath, but I guess people have been talking about it for ages, so I'm sleeping on this one. But so they found, so it starts like right below the pyramid. There's like these 5 chambers, like stacked chambers.
Right.
Okay, perfectly stacked. And it's like made out of this certain red stone or something that had to come hundreds of miles away. So that's fascinating enough.
That adds more questions about the whole birth of these pyramids.
Right. And then underneath that, they found 8
cylindrical
spires, I guess.
Yeah.
Underneath they're like set in like perfectly sets of 2s.
Yeah, I saw that. So yeah, what they did was they have them, I think it's in 4 rows of 2. So they're these cylinders, and it looked like, from the best they could tell, it has what might be some sort of staircase,
like
walkway,
a spiral staircase, or some tubing or something that spirals all the way up each one of those.
Right.
From the top all the way to the bottom.
Right.
All right. So, and it's really deep. What'd she say? Like 600 and something meters?
I think it was 648 meters down.
meters down.
That's long, man.
Holy crap. How is that even possible?
Well, that's the big question,
How is
isn't
it even possible? And then under that, there are 2 boxes. So there are 4 of those cylinders.
Right.
Underneath each 4, there's a box, an 80 by 80 meter box.
Yeah.
Under each one of those.
Right.
It's an empty box. And they still suspect, based on what they saw, they couldn't get it that deep yet, but there's still chambers underneath that even.
That's insane.
Insane.
That's
Insanity.
crazy.
How? I don't even understand how they got that deep. I mean, I get like over time layers like build up, but that much? And what was this even used for?
Well, exactly. Yeah, that's a good point, because the theory for hundreds and hundreds of years is that these pyramids were essentially supposed to just be like resting places for pharaohs and kings and pharaohs and their noble people and so on. But this seems awfully...
It's a little excessive.
Yes, exactly. It seems awfully large and pointless to do that. I think there is way more. They've been saying for years, we've talked about it and we're going to talk about it more. They've been saying for years that one of the greatest mysteries have been the pyramids. Mm-hmm. Everything about them, why they're there, how they were constructed when they were, what their purpose was. And now we find out that they're so much more complex than we even knew after all these centuries. So
right. One of the greatest wonders of the world, and that we even have no clue.
No.
How wonderful these things are. And I've heard people like comparing to Nikola Tesla.
Yeah.
And some of the things he was doing. So back when he was doing it, people thought he was crazy. But maybe he's not crazy. Maybe he was onto something.
Well, he could have been crazy well as being brilliant.
Genius.
Yeah, right.
But, is this some kind of mechanism, tools for energy consumption?
I don't know.
Something like that. Is it, an ancient civilization even before them, and then they just built on top of for their pyramids?
Who knows?
It fascinates me.
Yeah, it is fascinating. I'll give you that. I just don't want to go there.
I do.
No.
I'll take my chances.
No, me and Anakin got one thing in common. We hate sand. Don't like sand. And I also don't like scorpions and spiders. And I've watched too many mummy movies. Too many mummy movies, scarabs and all sorts of other things that crawl under your skin. No.
Just don't read from the Book of the Dead. You'll be fine.
Yeah, no, you keep the Book of the Dead way far away from me or anywhere near me. I don't want anything to do with any of that. So, but yeah, once we get more news about that, especially if there's any like further really cool discoveries, I think it's going to be time for us to do a new Real Talk episode. We haven't done in a long time.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to want to, because they said they have so much more that's going to be coming out.
Yeah.
That they know about this. And like you said, as they discover more,
right.
I'm sure they're going to start digging down to these things to figure out what the heck that cylindrical thing is.
Yeah.
Or that spiral staircase or whatever. This is fascinating.
It is. Yeah, so once we know more, we will let all of you know. And we'll definitely be eager to talk with everybody about it. Moving on. All right, so we're going to get back into some more geeky sci-fi type news. There have been fan sites rumoring, because that's mostly all fan sites do is rumor anyway. But It was an interesting rumor, but there have been rumors going around that are not substantiated, but people keep claiming that they've heard on good authority that Natalie Portman might appear in the next season of Ahsoka. And she might come in as what's the character's name?
Abeloth?
Abeloth, yeah. I think that's supposed to be. And I think there's going to be some kind of connection there to Amidala. They explained it all. When you start getting into the expanded universe Star Wars stuff, I get a little lost there. That could be very cool. I think that could be really cool. But the one thing that I thought was interesting, again, this is a little spoilery, so if you don't want to know this, but it's all just speculation. If you watched Ahsoka season 1, you remember the whole thing with Baylan Skoll and him being very interested in the more of the history of the Jedi and the whole thing with the father and the mother and the son, kind of their version of the Trinity thing.
Yes.
And hinting that they hinted in that, if you remember, I know you don't remember this stuff too well, but they hinted that Anakin might be like the father of that Trinity, like that he might be the Jedi that sits in that seat.
Okay.
And that's why they're bringing in with Abeloth that she would be the mother. And of course that would make sense with Anakin and
Right.
Padme, or this Padme-like character, with it being Natalie Portman and everything. I get where they're coming from with that. I feel like it's probably a lot of wishful thinking. As we've learned with all things Disney and Star Wars and Marvel, is that every time
We think we got it figured out.
and we don't.
Nope.
We just
They
don't.
yanked the rug out from underneath us.
Yeah. So I would be interested, again, anybody out there that's a fan of this stuff, if you've heard anything more about this Natalie Portman rumor, let us know. Or if you have your own theories about where Ahsoka season 2 is going. They're taking too long.
Yeah, I'm ready. Give it to us.
It's just too long now. It's bad enough if it takes years and years for like a movie to come out, but this whole idea of having to wait years and years for the next season of a show to come out, man. Like, I would be willing to sacrifice some of the special effects and everything if we could just get it out a little sooner. But anyway, we'll see.
Yeah, I still want it done well, but yeah, I agree. It's taken way too long.
Yeah, because it just Ahsoka feels like it was so long ago now. I know it's only been like maybe a year and a half or something, but it feels like longer to me. Pivoting in another direction here, Amazon recently announced that favorites of ours
I'm very excited for this.
are coming back with a new show. And who are we talking about? We are talking about Jeremy Clarkson, James May, and Richard Hammond.
Woo-hoo.
Yes, those three knuckleheads, originally from BBC's Top Gear, who later then, after a bunch of debacle, ended up going over to Amazon and starting the Grand Tour show, which we loved as well.
Yep.
Loved that show.
Same shenanigans.
Yeah, we recommended it on a Squadcast many moons ago. That was one of our suggestions, that you check out the Grand Tour. Well, they are coming back with a new show called The Not Very Grand Tour. And they haven't said what exactly that's going to mean. But some people were kind of theorizing what that probably means.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. They were saying that, because like in the past, they were with the Grand Tour. I mean, you remember, they were going all over the globe.
Right.
And they were going to some very perilous, dangerous places.
This is true. Yeah. Like, we got to get out of here, and literally getting escorting out of a country.
Out of countries. Yes, that was tense.
Yeah.
Man. Yeah, that is really, really tense. For anybody that hasn't watched this and you think, well, it's just stupid because it's just about cars.
The car show? Mm-mm.
The cars are almost kind of just an excuse, It's like a red herring, because what it really is about is obviously the comedy between these three idiots.
The camaraderie, too.
The camaraderie. And then, like, there's like legit drama, that real life drama that you see, like they get themselves into some situations. A lot of it is scripted out, but some of it is not. And a lot of people are speculating that maybe that's where they're at with this new one. That's why it's not so grand, as like, maybe we're going to
Dial
keep
it
it.
back.
Yeah, because
Okay.
they're getting older.
I know. That's what I'm really hoping. I still love the excursion episodes. Those are my
Sure.
favorite ones.
Yeah.
I don't want them just sitting in a studio talking about cars. That's going
Yeah.
to lose me.
Yeah.
So I don't want it to be Not Very Grand Tour and just be talking about cars. I want the excursion still, maybe not as extensive and perilous as it was, because they are getting considerably older. And Hammond's been in enough car accidents and almost died.
Right.
I don't think he should be doing that anymore.
Right.
I'm sure
Yeah.
Jeremy Clarkson crashing into walls probably may be out.
Right.
Because
Right.
they've been through the ringer. But yeah, I still hope they go out and do these fun things like finding the start of the Nile and shit.
Right. Well, the other problem is because of, again, I'm not going to get political, but because of the climate of everything right now, with wars going on in a lot of places where they would previously have gone to,
yeah.
and just crossing borders getting trickier and trickier in a lot of places, I think they're probably just running out of options for what to do there. So I'll be very interested. They've obviously come up with something. And I'm very interested to see what it is, what the concept is going to be. But either way, I always enjoy watching them. So I am going to be very welcoming.
Yeah, I'll definitely be checking it out no matter what it is.
Yeah, so it'll be the Not Very Grand Tour, and that'll be on Amazon Prime. So, lastly, for the Shake and Bacon segment, we have one last thing that I wanted to bring up. A friend of ours, I think George might have put it in the group, that this past month that literally just ended, March 2025, actually marked the 45th anniversary of one of the most influential and successful video games of all time being released, and that was Space Invaders. Nice. We were just talking about Space Invaders. I think it was on the last episode. Yeah, I love me some Space Invaders, man. That's still such a fun game. It just goes to show that not everything that's old has to be like obsolete, you know?
No, it still gets my heart racing and sweaty palms.
Right. It's a different kind of game than playing World of Warcraft or Call of Duty or something like that. But man, it's still a lot of fun. Yeah, it's interesting. And Space Invaders is one of the few games that got ported from the arcade onto the Atari 2600, the VCS, that I feel like it's just as fun, just as good playing it on the Atari as it is in the arcade.
Nice.
Did you ever play the Atari one?
That's only what I played.
Oh,
Atari.
okay. So you've never played the arcade version?
Nope.
Oh, we got to remedy that at some point. Yeah, I'd love to see you play the
Yeah, we've been talking about going to an arcade
we
for a long time.
Overdue. We are so overdue for going to an arcade.
2025 is our year. We're going to make it happen.
Yeah. We've got great ones like Galloping Ghost, if anybody's familiar with that one. That's out in Brookfield, Illinois. That's famous all over the country for being one of the best arcades out there. They go crazy with the amount of games they've got there. They've even got another location, I think, that is just pinball that I would be all about. All about it. So yeah, but we got to do that.
Yep, we're going to make it happen.
We need to make a list. Yeah, we need to make a list of classic games that like we either haven't played in forever or have never played.
Okay.
Because there's some that like I've never played Burger Time in my life. I've never played Burger Time, especially not in an arcade.
I have no idea what that even is.
You don't even know what Burger Time is?
Is he just making burgers?
No,
is
not
it like a Facebook game?
No.
You're in the restaurant.
Like the cafe game.
Yeah.
Oh God, I spent so much time making those fucking dishes at that. Oh my God.
I can totally see that.
We used to set our alarms to know when it was time to have to take things off the stove and when things had to be served. Like,
I was like, oh, it's been an hour. I can go.
It got all consuming, man. Yep. Like I think back on it now and I'm like, oh my God, what was wrong with us? Like, why were we,
addicting.
Exactly.
I did the farm one.
Oh yeah. I never played the farm one. And I loved things like, I still do, actually. I was playing it not that long ago. I love things like the Tycoon games, like Roller Coaster Tycoon.
Oh, okay.
And I loved, Sims, all of those. But yeah, you get addicted to it. You start to feel a little bit like God. You know what I mean? Like where you're like, I can't let my people down. They will die.
Like my crops are going to die. Everybody's going to starve.
Yeah, look at the dead sheep. Oh my God. What have I done? Yeah, it's ridiculous. But yeah, it's best that we just keep it simpler to things like Space Invaders. Right. Yeah. So, okay, cool. Yeah. But yeah, we will definitely
make our list.
We're going to make our list and we're definitely going to have more video game content because we haven't done anything in a little while. Yep. So just as long as it ain't Mario Kart. No Mario Kart.
More Mario Kart.
No.
You guys speak.
No.
Make it happen.
Oh, God. All right. Here is a word from our sponsors. It is none other than the Prescribed Films Podcast Network, which we are affiliated with. So let's let them talk for a few, and then we will come back with some squad talk. Here we go.
We'll be right back.
We'll be right back.
You're listening to the Prescribed Films Podcast Network, home to hundreds of hours of free podcast entertainment. The shows on this network all have a common goal, providing you with the best discussions about movies and other forms of entertainment media. The PFPN hopes to fill your earholes with audio joy. Visit our website with links to all the other amazing shows at www.thepfpn.com. Thanks for listening.
Yep, and it is about that time. Brr, it's about the time for a little bit of squad talk. Yeah, so what this section of the show basically focuses on are things that we've taken directly out of the Geeking Squad group on Facebook. So a lot of that has to do with like choose memes and polls and debates about what's better and how you rank things and all that kind of stuff. So we are going to do a bunch of choose meme stuff here. And let's just go through them. Let's just jump right into them.
All right, let's do it.
So you posted one not too long ago that was talking about squads. Speaking of squads.
Right? Yeah, so this is about like which group of friends would you choose to pal around with?
Yeah.
You're going to go on adventures with, get into trouble.
Yeah.
Have a little fun. Night out on the town. All right.
Right.
So our choices here are you get Revenge of the Nerds, Cobra Kai, Stand By Me, The Lost Boys, Red Dawn, or The Goonies.
Yeah. That's a tough one.
Yeah.
Because there's a few really good ones there. We had a lot of responses. A lot of people seem to choose The Goonies.
Yep.
That seemed to be one of the most, I think the two most popular ones were The Goonies and Revenge of the Nerds.
Revenge of the Nerds, yep. Yeah, I could see that.
Well, it is the Geeking Squad group, so it stands to reason that most of us feel like we fit in with the nerds and the Goonies.
And they win overall, right?
Yeah, and you know, exactly. They're a little nicer. Yeah, I'll go first. So I just process of elimination. Okay, Cobra Kai. Those guys are jerks, man. I know Johnny's been redeemed now in recent years and everything. And, you know, maybe it wasn't as awful as he was made out to be in the first movie. But Cobra Kai, yeah, they're just, I don't know. They just seem like they'd always be looking to cause trouble. And I'm like, come on, man, let's just chill.
Fight each other.
Yeah. Stand By Me kids, you know, they're good kids. But again, they're a little precocious. Little bit precocious. There's some issues there with that group and everything. So I'll pass on that. Lost Boys, I definitely would fit in, I think, with the Lost Boys overall. You know, I got the hair and the whole kind of gothy kind of metal dude thing going. But the Lost Boys, I don't know, man. They're another one. They just seems kind of dismal because they can only come out at night. They have to drink blood. They live in a cave. You know, I'll pass on that. Red Dawn, well, cool people. I like the cast. I like all of them in Red Dawn, but that is certainly not a happy situation to be in. I mean, I guess I wouldn't mind hanging with them if I was found in that sort of a situation, but this isn't exactly the kind of group that I would want to hang with on a Friday night, you know? So for me, yeah, it comes down to Revenge of the Nerds and the Goonies.
All right.
I probably am going to lean towards the Goonies.
Okay.
I think I'll lean towards the Goonies. Yeah, just because I loved that movie when it came out. I saw it at the theater by myself when I was in whatever that was, 7th grade. It's perfect age, you know, for a movie like the Goonies. I loved the music. I loved the whole atmosphere of it. I loved the idea of the treasure map and booby traps. And that's what I said, booby traps and all. and you know, having to play the right note on the skeleton organ thing. And like that all just seems like a lot of fun. It seems a little perilous. But then again,
it's very perilous for you.
Yeah, it is a little perilous. But then we do have Sloth, you know, who is a good protector and everything. So I'm probably going to go with the Goonies. I just feel like even though I probably fit in quite too well with the nerds, I don't know. They were just, they were always, some of the shenanigans they were always trying to get up to and chasing around girls in college dorms and panty raids and all these weird things. I'm like, yeah, that's not really my thing. I'd rather go on a treasure quest, you know. That'd be more. That
might have been your thing 20 years ago.
I was just going to say, back when I was 15 or 17, I probably would have hung out with the nerds. Yeah. That could have been fun. But as it is right now, no, I think I'll choose the Goonies. Now, what about you?
All right. So let me go down process elimination here too. So yeah, Revenge of the Nerds, bunch of dudes and stuff. I think I'm going to pass on that.
Well, they're all a bunch of dudes.
Yeah,
almost.
exactly.
Almost.
So I think I'm going to pass on that one. Cobra Kai. Does everybody beating up on each other?
Right.
Could be fun, but I think I'm going to pass on that.
Okay.
Stand By Me. Going on an adventure looking for a dead body. I think I'm going to pass on that.
Okay.
Having to run and beat a train on a no, I'm good. I'm good. Having to jump off. No, I'm good. Red Dawn. Yeah, like you said, that's not a situation I want to be in.
Right.
So I don't think I'm going to willingly choose.
Right.
To have to be defending for my life. So yeah, I'm going to pass on that one. So I'm down to the Lost Boys and the Goonies. Mm-hmm. Lost Boys, I think they were really cool. Even though, they're vampires. But I don't know. I don't want to be sucking blood and having it only come out at night. I like the daylight too much. Yeah. For that. So I think I'm with you. I'm going to have to go with the Goonies. I mean, me. I can't pass out a treasure hunt.
I love that you were trying. You were at least trying to give these others a chance, but I knew right from the get-go, I'm like, she's fucking Goonies.
Duh.
Come on. A treasure map and going in caves and all these other things and the waterfall.
Having to figure out these tricks and
booby traps and pirate ships. And
ships. And hey, you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, come on.
Yeah. I don't know who you were trying to fool.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're both Goonies. Yep. So that seems
without a doubt
fitting. All right, the next one that got shared was, which is the best John Hughes movie? Now, this is really tough because I am a huge John Hughes movie fan. Some of these movies are my all-time favorite movies, not just John Hughes. Real quick, just to give you the list of the ones that they included here, it had Ferris Bueller's Day Off, 16 Candles, Pretty in Pink, The Breakfast Club, Weird Science, Some Kind of Wonderful, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, The Great Outdoors, Uncle Buck, Curly Sue, Beethoven, that's the one about the dog, and last but not least, Home Alone. So, Megan, I don't think you need to do it. There's too many to do a process of elimination. And I know some of these I don't think you've even seen before.
Or it's been, there's a couple I haven't, but.
So what do you narrow it down to? What do you think your choice is?
Oh my gosh, this is really hard.
Yeah.
I definitely have to narrow it down to The Great Outdoors and Uncle Buck.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And Beethoven.
Okay.
And maybe Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Okay.
Are my top 4, I would think.
You can only pick one.
I can only pick one. Oh, man. I don't want to only pick one. I have to go with The Great Outdoors.
Wow.
That's the one I know the best. I can't. I got to go with it. It cracks me up every time. It still cracks me up. I still put that on and watch it all the time.
Really?
Yeah.
That's so funny because that is by far my least favorite out of this entire bunch.
Really? Okay.
Everybody talks about that movie being so funny, and I watched it and I thought it was going to be great with Aykroyd and Candy and and I was like, this is bad. This isn't funny.
It's not.
I didn't think it was funny at all. But hey, that's fine. I mean, that's cool.
You're wrong.
Yeah, I guess I'm wrong. Yeah, for me, it's really tough. I'm not even going to bother going through all the whittling down because I'll talk for another 20 minutes about it. I mean, my favorites of the bunch here are Ferris Bueller, 16 Candles, Breakfast Club, and Weird Science. Okay. Now, here's the thing. 16 Candles and Weird Science, I still quote those movies. They have so much to do with my personality, for better or worse, in terms of like a lot of my humor. My dad loved those movies, so we used to both joke about them and quote them to each other. My best friend Steve and I still talk about those movies. But those two movies, I gotta be honest, they haven't aged well. They're very sexist in a lot of ways. There's a lot of questionable things. They were definitely of their time. So... And I see that now. I honestly see that now when I watch them. I still laugh at them, but there's certain things in those movies that I'm like, ugh, yeah, that's kind of creepy. So then it kind of narrows down really for me between Ferris Bueller and Breakfast Club. Breakfast Club is just What a phenomenal movie. It's still a phenomenal movie. I think a teenager could watch that movie today, and even though the clothes and the music, certain themes are going to be like, not current, but overall the context there and the way kids are and the way their home lives are, the way they interact with each other, I feel like Breakfast Club is still relevant in a lot of ways. But it isn't really a feel-good movie. It has its moments. It has some moments where it's like fun and you laugh and everything, but it's a heavy movie. I have to go with Ferris Bueller. Ferris Bueller is it's just such a fun, hopeful movie, and I love all the characters in there. Cameron makes me laugh all the time because I am a little bit Cameron Fry. I am. I will lay there in bed and just be miserable like Cameron is,
When Cameron was in Egypt's land, let my Cameron go.
Cameron is great. Ferris is hilarious. Mia Sara is the girlfriend. She's great. Ed Rooney, the principal, the principal's assistant, everybody, and Jennifer Grey as the sister is fantastic in it. It's a movie that I still think about all the time. I quote all the time. The soundtrack is amazing. It's filmed in Chicago. Yeah, I got to go with Ferris Bueller. I just think that was like the peak of John Hughes is Ferris Bueller.
Yeah, that's a solid. That would probably be my number 2.
So coming up next was a meme that you shared. And this is a tough one, too. It lists every year from the 80s, from 1980 through 89. And each year there are 3 movies. And you have to pick which year is the year that you would choose, right? For like a Friday movie night type thing, right?
Okay.
So we have 1980 has Empire Strikes Back, 9 to 5, and Stir Crazy. 1981 has Raiders of the Lost Ark, For Your Eyes Only, which is a James Bond movie, and Superman 2. 1982 had E.T., Rocky 3, and Tootsie. 1983 had Return of the Jedi, Flashdance, and Octopussy, which is another James Bond movie. 1984 has Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, Beverly Hills Cop, and Ghostbusters. 1985 has Back to the Future, Rambo, First Blood Part 2, and Rocky 4. That's a lot of Stallone. Damn. 1986 has Top Gun, Crocodile Dundee, and Aliens. 1987 has Fatal Attraction, Beverly Hills Cop 2, and Dirty Dancing. 1988 is Rain Man, Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and Coming to America. And last but not least is 1989 with Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, Batman, and Back to the Future 2. Megan.
Oh, crap.
Can you choose one year? Because you can't interchange. You got to choose a year as it is.
I wish I really could interchange. I have it narrowed down to 2.
Okay.
This is really hard. I don't
know.
want to choose.
Well, that's the idea of this. If it was easy, it wouldn't be as much fun.
Sucks hard.
Wow.
All right.
Jeez.
So I think I'm going to go number 2 is 1989 with the Indiana Jones, Last Crusade, Batman, and Back to the Future 2.
I figured that was going to be one you would choose.
Yeah. So, I had to go like Indiana Jones, like immediately. I wanted to pick 1984 because it's got Indiana Jones, Temple of Doom, Beverly Hills Cop, and Ghostbusters. But Temple of Doom, I can't.
Yeah, I know you're not a big fan of that one.
Can't do it. You know what? I am choosing 1986 Top Gun, Crocodile Dundee, and Aliens.
You know
I feel like I get a little bit of everything. I get action, adventure, I get some comedy, and I get some horror.
Yeah.
Aliens. I think it's a little bit of everything. I think that's a great night.
That is actually, looking at it now, I can't really argue. That is a fantastic night of movies. All 3 of those movies are great.
Right.
Top Gun's fantastic. Crocodile Dundee's hilarious.
Right.
And Aliens, arguably, possibly the best of that series and, one of the best of that genre of sci-fi horror. It might be the best, actually. I'm sure people are going to argue with me about that. But I can't really argue with you on that. That's a really, really good one.
What about you? What are you thinking?
Man, it's tough.
I know.
It's really tough for me. Oh God, I don't know, because none of these really lines up perfectly for me. For me, it's going to be like you. If I had to go to two, I'm going to go with 1989, The Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, Batman, and Back to the Future 2. Even though I'm not that keen on Back to the Future 2,
Right.
I know some of our friends
Are very
keen on that
the
one.
best one, right?
They think it's the best, but I'm not as keen on it, but I would enjoy it. I would watch it. The other choice for me would be 1981, I think, with Raiders of the Lost Ark, For Your Eyes Only. I like James Bond movies. I don't watch them that much. When I was younger, I loved them.
I don't think I've ever seen a James Bond movie.
Whoa.
Not one.
Holy shit. Are you serious?
Yep, bombshell right there, guys.
That is a bombshell, because you would probably really like
Right?
them.
It's right up my alley. What is wrong with me?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's a big franchise. It's hard to know where to like dive into it.
Yeah.
You know,
I've never been drawn to it for some reason.
No, I mean, some movies are not nearly as good as others. So, you might want to go watch like a video
Pick and
where they kind of rank them for you and give you some ideas
Gotcha.
of where to.
I'm sorry. I interrupted you.
Yeah, you don't have to start all the way back in the early 60s with Thunderball and Dr. No and all that. Although those are great movies. But anyway, yeah, I would say 1981. That's probably the one I'm going to go with. Raiders, I've watched it a million times, and I'll watch it a million more. For Your Eyes Only is one that I would love to see again. I haven't seen it in probably 30 years, so I'd love to watch that again. And Superman 2, I mean, it's Superman 2, me and Superman. Christopher Reeves is one of my, favorite. He is Superman. He always will be Superman. I have high hopes for this new Superman movie coming out. But man, they haven't been able to top it yet. So yeah, I'm going to go with 1981.
Yeah, that's about where I thought you'd be at.
But I've got the same runner-up as you with that 1989 batch, because that is a good batch. Last Crusade and Batman.
Absolutely.
Oh, so much
the
fun.
Best Batman, the Batman.
Yeah, that's a good one. So, okay, cool.
Moving on.
Okay, so moving on here, we've got, this is kind of like the one we had about the squad you'd roll with. This was another one that was, who are you partying with? And these were groups or individual female characters from 80s movies and shows. And you had Ariel Moore, Chris Parker. We know that was Adventures in Babysitting, right? Mm-hmm. We had Lisa from Weird Science. We had the Pink Ladies from Grease. We have Amanda Jones. We have Susan from Desperately Seeking Susan. So that's Madonna. Allison from The Breakfast Club. Auntie Entity, which is Tina Turner from Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. Joan Wilder. Samantha Baker. That's 16 Candles. Ellen Ripley, of course, from Aliens. The Golden Girls. We've got Baby, who is not in a corner, I promise, not anymore. Johnny pulled her out of that corner from Dirty Dancing. The Heathers from Heathers. Jessica Rabbit from Roger Rabbit. And last, the Omega Moos, the female fraternity from Revenge of the Nerds. You want me to go first?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, this was tough. I was thinking about it a lot because I really like a lot of these characters. For me, it's narrowed down to 3, okay? Mm-hmm. It's narrowed down to the Pink Ladies from Grease. It's narrowed down to Allison from Breakfast Club. And it's narrowed down to the Heathers.
Okay.
Yeah, now people might be surprised about the Heathers, be like, they were such bitches. Well, not really. The lead Heather, the main one, she sucked. She was a bitch. But the other 3 Heathers were kind of cool. I mean, I would just roll up in there all Christian Slater-like and be like, all right, we're going to get rid of that one, just like you did in the movie. She could go choke on some corn nuts and be out of here. And I'll hang with the others because Winona Ryder and Shannon Doherty, yeah, I'm good with that. I'll hang out with them. 16-year-old me would have loved to hang out with them. So that's a possibility. Allison from the Breakfast Club, like, I don't know. She was my favorite character from The Breakfast Club. I feel like she kind of got the raw deal at the end when they made her like, you have to pretty yourself up to be appealing to Emilio Estevez. Fuck that. She was cool as she was.
Yeah, I could see you two being best friends.
Yeah, well, I had a friend that was very much her. So, that doesn't really surprise me. But you know what, man? I like to sing the songs. I like leather jackets. I like the whole thing. I got to go with the Pink Ladies.
Yeah, you just broke out in their songs a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, come on.
Amazing.
I know every stinking line, move, everything from Grease. I got to go with the Pink Ladies.
Nice.
You know, Rizzo is a pain in the ass. But, you know, Jan and Marty and Frenchie, they're cool. I would totally go to their sleepover and eat Twinkies and go brusha, brusha, brusha and do and
Brusha, brusha, brusha. Do I have a toothpaste? Brusha, brusha, brusha.
all that and sing, you know, look at me, I'm Sandra Dee. And, you know, and then if Olivia Newton-John gets rolled up in there somehow too, okay. Yes, I'm going to go with the Pink Ladies. That's my choice.
All right. I did not see that coming.
Really?
I should have.
Who did you think I was going to go for?
I don't know. I really thought you'd go for Allison.
Yeah, well, she, like I said, she would be close to that. She'd be close.
Number 2.
But that would, yeah, exactly.
Okay. All right. Well, I also have it narrowed down to 3, I think.
Okay.
So 1 is Baby.
Okay.
I mean, Dancing with Johnny. Dancing with Johnny. I mean, come on. And I love everything about that. She could teach me how to do those moves and everything, make some good money. But I don't know. I don't want to be put in a corner.
Yeah.
Pink Ladies were another one I was looking at.
Yeah.
Could be a lot of fun. I like that time period. I love the Pink Ladies. I love the songs too. I could be right there with them, doing some racing. So yeah, I really love them. But the one that had to take over everybody, and which should not be a shock to anybody that knows me, is I gotta go Joan Wilder, Romancing the Stone.
Yeah.
I gotta go hunt for the jewels.
Yeah.
On that adventure.
Yep. That makes sense.
Yep. I got to.
Yeah.
Treasure hunting gets me every time.
Yeah, it really does.
It really does.
Yeah.
So, yep, that's my choice. I'm gonna hang with Joan Wilder. She's a writer and all that. That's always been my dreams to be a writer. I'm not creative enough for it. But yeah, I'm all about her. Me and her get along real well.
Okay. That's fair enough. I hadn't really thought about that, but that perfectly makes sense now that you said that. Okay. All right. And then we've got one of those memes that have been really popular lately where they lay out different seats and people like you're on an airplane. And it says you're stuck on a 10-hour flight. Where are you going to sit? In row 1, you could sit in between Allison from Breakfast Club and John Bender from Breakfast Club.
Okay.
So in the second row, you would get the window seat next to Claire, Molly Ringwald from the Breakfast Club. And then on the aisle, it is Anthony Michael Hall. In row 3, this is an odd one to me, but in row 3, the window seat would be Lisa from Weird Science. And the middle seat would be John Candy from, is he from Uncle Buck?
Yeah, I think that's Uncle Buck.
Yeah, and so you'd be sitting next to Uncle Buck. In 4, across the aisle, you would have the 2 Corys. You would sit in between Corey Haim and Corey Feldman. In row 5, you would be sitting in the middle seat in between the shitty Heather we were just talking about and Sloane, Ferris Bueller's girlfriend. Or you could be sitting in the aisle seat along with Ferris Bueller and Cameron. Or you can sit in the window seat in row 7 with Marty McFly and Doc, who from Back to the Future, of course. Or last but not least, you could sit in the middle seat in between Christina Applegate and Ed O'Neill, otherwise known as Al Bundy from Married with Children. So, Meg, why don't you go first? Where would you sit?
Oh my gosh. Initially, I was thinking I wanted to sit next to John Candy because I think he'd be a riot.
Yeah.
And then sitting next to Kelly and Ed could be really cool. Kelly and Al could be really cool. And aisle 8 there.
Right.
That could be interesting, hearing them bicker back and forth at each other.
Right.
But I think I'm going to go with 7. I'm going to go back to the future aisle. I think they'd be hilarious to sit next to.
Talking about time travel
And
all
all
sorts of
that.
kooky stuff.
And maybe we could time travel. Maybe the airplane's a time traveling machine. And you
Okay.
never know where we're going to end up at.
I hadn't thought of that, but I suppose
You never
that-
know what those two crazy people are up to.
Right.
So I think it'd be a fun time.
7, so you're going to be in the
I'm gonna
Back
be
to
in
the Future
7.
one. Okay. I think that is what I thought you were going to choose,
Yes.
to be honest with you. All right, for me, yeah, it's a tough one again, but I'm thinking about it now and putting a lot of thought into it. I think I'm going to take row 6.
I can see that.
I'm going to, for one thing, I like the aisle seat. Anytime I travel, it's because I need access to that bathroom. But yeah, so I like the aisle seat. Nobody likes the middle seat, not usually.
Nope.
And window seat, I could take or leave sometimes. So I want an aisle seat. So that would leave me with either 3 or 6. And I get to sit in the row with Ferris Bueller and Cameron. And even better, I get to sit in between, technically, Ferris and Sloane, his girlfriend. And I was a big fan of Sloane back in the day. I loved her so much. So that would be fun to me. I'd be sitting right behind the 2 Coreys, so I could hear all the fucking mischief that was going on with them in the row and ahead of me. Yeah, that's going to be my choice. I'm choosing the Ferris Bueller row.
That's solid, and that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
What do you suggest?
All right. We are in the home stretch here, folks. This is the What Do You Suggest segment where Megan and I each gently suggest.
Tell you what to do.
Oh, wow. Okay, that wasn't gently at all.
Oh,
Wow. I'm sorry, folks. She just lost it there for a moment.
I get so excited.
Yeah, and you just can't hide it. Okay, no more Saved by the Bell references here. We've moved on. Yeah, this is where we suggest things that we've been into lately that we think are worth passing on the good word about to y'all. So, Megan, what do you suggest people at home check out?
So I just started watching, it's a new show, TV show.
Right.
It's on Peacock TV.
Okay.
And I think it's kind of getting a bum rap. I don't think it's doing very well because they already are like moving it around to different nights, which is
that's
never a good sign.
Mm-mm.
So because I'm getting into it, it's not going to make it much longer. So I need you guys to go check it out, which is why I'm so adamant about it and pushy. But it is called Grosse Pointe Garden Society, and it's a silly show. It's kind of like a murder mystery whodunit. It's actually, we know who did it. It's who's murdered. We have to figure that out.
Oh, okay.
And all these people have like, obviously working in a like society garden and all that, trying to win these awards. And they all have these different lives they got a lot of crap going on inside them. And it's one, I think something that's losing everybody is it jumps around time frames.
Okay.
Like between current and 6 months before and, 6 months in the future and all this stuff. And I think it loses people doing that. But I read books that are like that all the time, and I'm good with it. I
Okay.
enjoy that. So it doesn't bother me that it's jumping all over the place. It's pretty, to me, easy to figure it out when they're jumping from one to the other.
I see.
But from what I've seen online, that's people's biggest gripe. And just like any other new show, it's going to take a minute to get going, find its footing, and really get good. But I don't know. I like the drama of it and trying to figure out who done it. It's like, because they keep leading you in one direction. It's like, oh no, wait, no, maybe it's this person that's dead. It's like, oh wait, no, this person's dead.
Oh, okay.
And so it keeps red herrings all over the place. And I don't know. I think it's a fun little silly ride. It's reminded me very much of My Pretty Little Liars and all the drama going on.
Yeah,
and
you do
stuff.
like those kind of shows.
Those silly shows like that. So if you just want a fun ride of who done it, who got murdered, who's buried under the garden, and who knows about it and who doesn't know about it,
Okay.
I think you should check it out. Give it a shot.
All right. Yeah, I think that's a cool suggestion. My suggestion is a show that I don't think it's doing badly. I think people are actually quite into this show, but I have noticed, especially when I've talked to people in the squad about it and I've talked to friends about it, a lot of people aren't checking it out, surprisingly, and I think there's various reasons for it. Some of it is just general burnout with the overall franchise, but I'm going to suggest, if you haven't checked it out yet, go turn on Disney Plus and watch the new Daredevil Born Again series. It's fucking fantastic.
Is it?
Yeah, I think it's great. You do have to have watched the previous ones. Now, originally, obviously, Daredevil was part of the Netflix Marvel series back however many years, almost a decade ago now, when they had Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Iron Fist, and Luke Cage. This carries on from that. Disney just basically more or less picked up almost where things left off. Things have happened since then because there were things that transpired in other series, such as the Hawkeye series. That ties in very much with this.
Oh, does it? Okay.
Yeah, it does. Because it's got the Kingpin in it, and there's a lot of references to what happened in there. I think this show is great. As soon as I was... I don't know, I might have been maybe even like 10 minutes into the first episode, and I just got such a good feeling. I'm like, oh man, thank you. This is what's been missing. This is what I have missed about Marvel content. Which isn't to say that I've hated all the stuff they've come out with in the years since then. There have been some great things we've talked about. I loved Loki, and Hawkeye was okay, and there have been a few good things here and there and good moments. But this to me is like, okay, this feels like what I'm invested in when it comes to Marvel. There's action, there's superpowers, there's things, but there's some really good drama. There's not a lot of like goofiness that goes on, which I feel has been too prevalent in a lot of the Disney original series. And I just think they have gotten a little too goofy. Various other things that have gone on with the writing. There's a little bit of issues with some of the writing for this show, but nowhere near like what I've seen with some of the other shows or movies. So yeah, if they can continue on this path and use this as a good jumping off point for the rest of what's coming, especially then, like I said, if Thunderbolts turns out to be decent and then Fantastic Four, this could really be the start of Marvel getting back to being pretty awesome. Anyway, yeah, that's my suggestion. Meg, you suggested a good one. Yours was on Peacock TV, right?
Yes.
All right. And that's going to do it for us. Yeah, it's been fun. I'm glad we were able to get back on and do this. We will be back, hopefully, next month. Yeah, in May. And May, we'll have to see. Maybe we'll come up with something fun to do because that's going to be our anniversary. Yeah. This show really officially kicked off in May of 2018. So it's going to be...
Hopefully by then we'll have some exciting news.
Yeah, we'll see. I hope so. But until then, everybody take care and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.